One of the most popular things to do in Cappadocia is to take a hot air balloon ride or watch the hot air balloons at sunrise. It's quite a magical sight and is something we personally wanted to do for many years. On this late October day, we began watching the balloons from our hotel rooftop around 7:15 a.m. When we woke up, we saw there were balloons, so we threw on some day clothes and immediately headed up. Timing worked out well for us, but if you have only one day, I would recommend starting the day earlier, which we did do the next day. We saw many balloons and even had the roof to ourselves for quite a while, basically up until it was close to the time for the breakfast room to open. Then we enjoyed the view with our breakfast buffet. We were very happy with how this went for us, but if you plan to visit, keep in mind that conditions vary by the day and the location of the balloons may be influenced by the wind. And on days it isn't safe, they will stay grounded. Next, we headed towards the Goreme Open Air Museum, making just a couple of quick stops on the way. I did think it was pronounced Goreme before, but it appears it is Goreme. That's the name of the town and this open air museum. This is probably one of the most popular attractions in this region. It's a large complex filled with old churches cut into the rock. The churches/monasteries were made in the Middle Ages, for these specifically, around the 10th to 12th centuries AD. You can see frescoes inside of them, which are supposed to be some of the best in the area. You aren't supposed to take photos though, but you may be able to find some online. Next, we headed to an emptier site. When creating our itinerary, we looked into popular sites that we must do, but also added in some additional stops. We chose this monastery as our next stop. I wrote more options than we had time for, so they didn't all make it in, but we enjoyed what we did and I think you pretty much can't go wrong. One thing to know is that the region as a whole is actually considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, this monastery does get visitors, but generally it will either be a Jeep safari tour or random tourists or tourists who drove themselves like us. At this time, it was nice for it to be just us because we were hearing so many sick people coughing everywhere. So what is this place? This is Hallach Monastery, one of the largest cave churches in Cappadocia. It is home to the only carved human figure in Cappadocia, which is thought to originate from a masonry worker from Georgia. It is possible Hallach Monastery may have incorporated both monastic and secular purposes. Experts are not even totally confident it was a monastery, but there are clear indications of Christianity, which is true across the region. Following its time as a monastery, rooms were used as dovecotes, which is a home for doves, or in this case, pigeons. Holes were added to allow the birds to enter. At the time, doorways were also blocked to keep out predators. Pigeons are a big part of this area's history. Their droppings have traditionally been used as a fertilizer. Today, some farmers use artificial fertilizers, but others say that the pigeon droppings make the fruit the best in Turkey. Next up, we stopped at the Levanta Panorama Cafe for some food and drink with a view. For food, we shared a cheese and tomato gözleme. Gözleme is a stuffed Turkish turnover. We felt it seemed like a Turkish quesadilla. To drink, we shared a menengic pistachio coffee. The drink is technically neither coffee nor pistachio, but has a strong pistachio flavor. It's made from a fruit related to the pistachio. It doesn't contain caffeine, so it is okay for an afternoon drink. In this case, it came with some cute little candies as well. We also got an orange juice as I thought it sounded good. In addition to food and drink, this area also offers nice photo spots. According to the website CappadokiaHistory.com, Pancarlik Church is one of the longest used church spaces in the world. There are preserved frescoes of biblical scenes in the structure, which is thought to be from the early 11th century. There is a man in a little structure who will charge you to enter. We weren't sure if it was one of those people who just sits there and unofficially charges, but looking into things, I see now that it is normal. For us, it was around 20 Turkish lira per person, which is currently around $1. Location is also described as remote and generally only visited by the Jeep safari tours. After looking around, we decided to turn this into a little hike as we enjoyed the area and it seemed to make sense. Next up is Sarıca Kilisesi, though I'm not confident on the pronunciation, which is true of most names though. Feel free to correct me in the comments if you know better. This area contains a clustering of a few cave churches from the 10th century, though depending on when you go, one or more of the churches may be closed off. This area has only been accessible for so long. It looks like it was discovered maybe in the 90s and underwent restoration in the 90s and 2000s, first opening to the public in 2004. We are really curious what it would have been like back in the Middle Ages in Cappadocia. Today, it is fun to wonder and wander, though. One interesting thing I read about some of these structures is because they are carved into the rock, there is no need for adding structural support, so any columns, arches, etc. are only for decoration. The rock here is called tuff, Tuff. I really like this area, maybe one of my favorites for some reason, and we also got it to ourselves, which was nice. Next up, we decided to check out the Cappadocia Art and History Museum. It can be nice to mix up the day with a different activity and also get some more background on the area. At the time we arrived, we were the only visitors, and so the man working there offered us a private tour of the museum, though from what I've read now, it is typical that someone will help guide you through the areas. The museum is filled with many dolls which provide historical context for the region, but there are also dolls from other parts of the world. It is quite a unique place. The museum curator provided background on some of these dolls and also offered to take many photos for us, even suggesting backgrounds and poses. Red Valley is an area made up of rock formations with red, orange, tan, and pinkish colors which were formed from volcanic ash. The color is supposed to be particularly prominent at sunset. The area was developed with some agriculture around 900 to 1100 AD, and so you can also see scattered cave churches, kitchens carved in stone, and more. There are multiple options for trails through this area, with some connecting to other areas if you want to make a day out of it. We enjoy hiking and made a small hike out of it, but you could definitely make it much longer. There are spots which are a little more difficult, but definitely give you a climbing and exploring feel. Originally, we planned to go to Red Valley at sunset, and we did get a little pre-sunset light, but we were getting tired and also ready to eat dinner by this point. We didn't want to end the day too late, as we were also thinking about the next morning.
Careful.
We finished off the night trying out a dish unique to the Cappadocia region, well, Kyle did, called testi kebab. This is a dish which can include different types of meat and or vegetables which are put in a pot, sealed off, and cooked. He was pretty excited about this, which almost comes with its own little show when they open it for you. We also saw another group there getting something similar, but quite large, maybe family size. I had pita, hummus, and a tomato meze, which were good and filling, and Kyle did try these as well.